All right, welcome back, Pivotal Discourse fans. I'm sitting down with Chanelle Price, mid-distance runner extraordinaire. How are you, Chanelle?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
I'm excited.
So let's talk a little bit about your running career. I mean, were you always a runner?
I started with soccer.
Okay.
At age 9.
Nice.
And the coach noticed, like, your daughter does not sit still, is what he told my parents. And he's like, she's good at soccer, but you should probably find a track team for her to join because there's something there. And they listened. So I started running at a young age.
Now, let's get back to soccer because I played for about 20 years. Did you play locally around here?
So this was back when I lived in New Jersey. My family
okay.
and I moved to Easton when I was 11.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I was born in New Jersey.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as they said switch to track, you just left the soccer cleats and picked up the running cleats, or what?
I didn't. I always joke that I played everything you could think of. I remained in soccer.
Okay.
I did track as well. I danced. I did softball. Didn't like that, so I tried baseball with the boys. Played basketball. So yeah, it wasn't until I got to high school when my parents were like, "Okay, Chanelle, we're tired. You need to focus on one sport now that you're in high school."
I was going to say, did you sleep at all? Or my goodness.
And track wasn't really what I wanted to focus on in high school. It was probably my least favorite out of all the sports I was doing at the time. But my parents, they suggested that I focus on track, and I listened. Yes.
You picked the one that you hated the most.
Yeah, I loved the team aspect of sports.
Okay.
And so track wasn't my favorite, and until I started to see, I'm pretty good at this.
So talk to me a little bit more about high school. You were pretty much a phenom in high school, if I may remember correctly, and watching all the, newspaper articles and everything else. So how was that?
Yeah, I guess focusing on track paid off, right? I guess I was able to start putting my all into training for track and field, and when I started to do that, I just really, really started to succeed. I mean, I wasn't expecting it. It just kind of fell into place. And don't get me wrong, I worked very hard,
sure.
But it just, the progression from freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, it was just phenomenal. So
that's amazing. Now, did you focus on one particular event, or?
I would say my focus was the 800 meter.
Okay.
But I also ran cross country. I did not want to at first.
Sure.
But after doing it, I refused to my freshman year. They didn't win me over my freshman year, but my sophomore year, the coach, Bobby Jo Powell, who I love to death, she won me over, and I started to enjoy it. It was a break from track, and didn't think I'd be good at it. 3 miles, I'm like, I can't do that, but actually was pretty successful. I think my highest placement was 3rd at state in cross country. So.
Oh yeah, just 3rd at state, no big deal. Just doing it as a sidebar, and we get 3rd at state. Okay.
Yeah, so.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, so we did well in high school. Then where'd you go to college?
I went to the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Nice.
Yes.
Were you recruited or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, was highly recruited. It was a pretty stressful process, the recruiting process. You're young, you're 17, and you have pretty much I could have went to any school in the nation. And so it was a lot. The coaches are coming to visit you at your house, and it was pretty overwhelming, but something about the coach there at Tennessee, J.J. Clark, who to this day I'm still very close with. He won me over, so yeah.
Interesting. Now, what other schools were involved besides Tennessee?
I also took visits to the University of Southern California.
Ooh.
Yeah, West Coast was not for me.
No.
A little bit too far.
Yep.
And I took a visit to Michigan. A little bit too cold.
Okay.
So, yes.
All right. So we wound up in Tennessee, and then talk to me about the transition from high school to college. Was it still, not to say that high school was easy for you, but I mean, obviously you did well there. Were there any speed bumps along the way transitioning from high school to college? Definitely.
I struggled in college a bit. I developed this identity of, I'm Chanelle Price, the track star. Like you said, high school was a smooth road, and I had so much success, and I went to college with a lot of pressure and expectation from myself, really. I mean, I'm sure other people expected me to succeed, but it was really the pressure and expectation that I put on myself to perform and stay the Chanelle Price, the track star, and it was just too much. I put way too much pressure on myself. I equated to running with like a 100-pound weight on my back. It was just very heavy, very like, it wasn't fun anymore. It was like my all or nothing. I have to win. I have to be the best. And it was just too intense. And you could definitely tell I was a different runner out there on the track. I wasn't performing anywhere near where anyone thought I should be throughout my entire college career. So,
would you say you struggled in college?
Yes, it was a struggle, definitely. And in front of people, I was able to fake it, but behind closed doors, I was definitely very sad. Didn't really know who I was if I wasn't winning anymore. Kind of lost. It was a college is already, you're 18, 19, 20 years, right. You're already trying to find yourself, and then put that pressure of trying to prove to the world that you're still the best 800-meter runner in the world. It was just too much pressure. So if I could go back, I would remove all of that expectation,
Right. Sometimes it's not best to look on the past. I do that often. I'm just like, oh, I can't believe I did that. So talk to me about training from high school to college. Was that different as well? I would imagine it is.
It was a bit different, and my high school training was really intense. I almost trained like a collegiate athlete in high school. I mean, okay. Yeah, when my coach, he pushed me, and so that wasn't too big of an adjustment. It was more so my teammates were just as good as me, so I wasn't used to that. I'm like, hey, like I was used to being the only superstar, and now everyone's good, and it's like, whoa, like I am not used to this. So that was a shocker.
So did that push you to, try to go harder then?
It did, but there was also, I was young, I was immature, and I became jealous and envious of my training partners, instead of seeing it as like, oh, we can push each other. And I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna kill you in practice, and that's not the way to look at your teammates. Yeah, no. So
but live and learn.
Yes.
So, all right. So we do college. Then what?
So I get through college. I didn't progress much. My time in the 800 meter did not progress much from my senior year in high school to my senior year in college.
All right. So hold on one second. Let's back it up for the folks that don't know a whole lot about track, including myself. For 800 meters, what is considered a good time?
A good time. So the magic number is the 2-minute mark. Okay. If you break that 2-minute barrier, you are now just a world-class athlete. In high school, I ran 2:01. So I was almost there.
Holy cow.
Yes. By my senior year, I was down to a 2:01. But by my senior year of college, I was still at a 2:01. Oh, so there was no progression.
That's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, that was very frustrating. And now I'm a senior, and how you go pro in track is a shoe company usually becomes your sponsor.
Okay.
Nike, Adidas, New Balance, whoever it is. You get an agent, and they sell you to these shoe companies. And the shoe companies were like, well, why would we pick her up? She hasn't progressed. She's burnt out. She's washed up. So my senior year, I did not get picked up by a sponsor. So my dream of turning pro was denied. But I talked to my parents, and they said, you know what, we'll support you financially. Give it one more year to try to turn pro and get the attention of a shoe company. So
okay. So talk to me about that following year.
This was 2013, and it was... Now I have no school. Now it's just track because I've graduated now. And that was just that was too much. I mean, now I told you before, the obsession and the intensity. Now that's even magnified because everything is just track. There's no school. There's no teammates anymore. It's just literally Chanelle trying to turn pro, which...
And you've got 1 year to do it.
And so the pressure and expectation, it just was magnified. And so I, again, was just burnt out. I did actually run 2 minutes. So I got a little bit better.
Okay.
But it wasn't enough to get the attention of the shoe companies again.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. So you put in your all for a year. Now what?
Now it's okay. Do I just walk away? Is it my time to just hang up the spikes? It just didn't feel like it. I felt like there was a lot of untouched potential there. I just knew it deep down. Talked to my parents again. I said, hey, I'm not going to let you guys support me financially this time. I'm going to get 2 jobs, and I'm going to try again to get these shoe companies to believe in me.
So what were these jobs that you had?
The first one was at like a privately owned health shop. They sold like protein shakes and vitamins and and
so
the
it
other
stays within
exactly
your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
That's
very
cool.
understanding of my goals. So my hours, he worked with me and stuff. And then the other job, I was a tutor / mentor to some student athletes because I was still at the University of Tennessee at the time.
Okay.
Training with who was my college coach, but now he's trying to help me turn pro. So I stayed out there, and so I got a job at the University of Tennessee helping out the student athletes just with their schoolwork. So,
All right. So we're doing 2 jobs and training full time.
Yes.
Did the jobs help in terms of like kind of taking a little bit of the pressure off because you're like, oh, I also have to do these other things?
Yeah, absolutely. Because now I'm not just training and going home and obsessing about how my training went, which is what I was doing when I didn't have jobs. Now I'm training. Okay, now I have to switch on to helping these students. I can't think about what happened on the track. I can't obsess about it. I have to put my energy into something else. And that really, really, really helped.
Interesting.
It really helped.
Now, did you see any dip in energy level or anything like that because you had to focus your energy elsewhere? Or did you find it actually even more helpful because your mind just wasn't going, I got to do this, I got to do this?
I think physically I was pretty drained, but mentally I was definitely in a better place. And a lot of people don't talk about how important the mental aspect of athletics is. But yeah, mentally I was a completely different person, and it showed on the track.
Well, I was just going to say, sometimes I think, the mental thing is sometimes more important than the physical because your mind will tell your body what to do.
Absolutely.
So if your mind's good to go, even though you're tired physically, you can probably push yourself a little bit further.
Absolutely, yes.
So while we're on the subject of training, what does a typical day of training look like? And do you train every day? How does that work, especially at that level? I don't think a lot of people understand what it takes to be able to compete at that level. So take me through a typical day.
Typical day. So you're usually up by 6:30 so that you can get a decent breakfast in. And
what does the breakfast consist of? We're not talking Pop-Tarts here, right?
No, we're talking some oatmeal with fruit or some eggs with toast. Pretty boring stuff.
But it's fuel, right?
Yes, it's fuel. It's
better
fuel.
than
It's very
Captain Crunch,
important.
I'm sure.
Yes, very important. First meal of the day. Out the door usually by 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a long breakfast. 6:30 to 8.
Okay. Out the door by 8, and usually starting a morning run of about 4 miles by 8:30. So 4-mile run, nothing too hard.
Okay.
But just getting the body going, and then straight to the weight room.
For you, what is not hard for 4 miles? Because I know what not hard for 4 miles is me, and that's like half the day. So
probably about 7-minute pace.
Oh yeah, 7 minutes, no big deal. Easy, leisurely. Okay, so we do our 7-minute pace, nice and easy.
Yes.
And then we're off to
the weight room.
Okay.
Straight to the weight room from for about an hour. So you're looking 9:30 to 10:30. You're hitting the weight room.
Different stuff every day, I'm assuming, or
weight room is usually every other day.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So what I'm describing is probably my Monday. So 4 miles, weight room, get home, showered, eat a breakfast.
Go back to the weight room for a second.
Oh.
Are we talking heavy weight? We talking lighter weight? Like what type of resistance training is required for this type of competition?
So we're getting after. We're doing cleans. We're doing snatches. We're doing squats. We're doing lunges. We're sled pulls. Like the 800 meter is almost a sprint. So that explosiveness, that power, it's important.
Well, it's kind of interesting because it's almost like the perfect mix between the two. Like you need to come out hard and you need to finish hard, but you also need to have that ability to kind of hold back in between, I would imagine,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely. That endurance, which is where something like the 4-mile run comes into play. You still need to have endurance, but then you need power from the weight room. And then later in the day, you need to go to the track and work on your speed. So it just touches, like you said, it's an animal.
It's exhausting just talking about your training.
Yeah.
So, all right. So 4 miles, then we get after it in the weight room. Then what?
Then we're home, we're showered, and make sure we get a really good lunch in because you just did 4 miles in a weight room. So you need to replenish. So you're looking at some chicken and brown rice and some spinach, very balanced meal.
but boring.
Yes.
Do you get to put anything on it, or is it just straight up plain?
Barbecue sauce.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. At least you get a little flavor
Spice
in there.
it up
My
a little
goodness.
bit. And then I would take a nap. By that time, I'm pretty tired. And
I would have already taken a nap. Just after the 4-mile run, I would have taken the nap. But go ahead.
Yeah, quick nap. And then you're up by about 2:30 to head to the track. And that is probably the most important session, where you're at the track. And the workouts can vary, but you're getting after, you're going fast, and you're trying to mimic those speeds that you will be hitting in the 800 meter.
Okay.
So now you're doing it on tired legs, though. That's the idea.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
I see.
So
To push
you're a little bit
yourself
tired.
further.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're gonna feel, when you're fresh on race day, you should feel better than you do on tired legs. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we were talking about earlier, the 100-pound weight that you're running with. Every day. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. So you do every day, every other day? What are we talking here?
So if that was my Monday, then my Tuesday would probably just be no weight room. And again, we would do some mileage in the morning, probably a little bit longer than 4 miles. So, actually a lot longer, 6 to 8 miles. 6 to 8 miles, and then rest. And then in the evenings, instead of going out to the track and getting after it, you're in the pool or on the bike. So every other day is hard. So since Monday was so hard, now Tuesday we're just trying to get the body to recover. So you'll do your easy miles, rest, and then in the afternoon go to the pool, get on the bike, something like that.
6 to 8 miles is recovery miles? Okay. All right. Just checking here.
Mm-hmm.
Man, do I not feel good about myself currently. All right, so 6 to 8 miles, and then Wednesday we're back at it again.
Back at it.
Same deal, 4 miles, hitting the gym hard,
Yep.
and then tired leg session in the evening.
Yep.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and maybe a Friday off if the coach is feeling nice.
So tell me about, we talked a little bit about the mental aspect. Training that hard, how do you stay in it for something like that? I mean, my goodness. I mean, after day 1, I'd be hard pressed to go for day 2, let alone continually going after it. What makes you stay motivated to stay with it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was every day involved a lot of self-talk and constantly reminding myself of what my end goal was, which was to be an Olympian. I wanted to be an Olympian. So when I was on that track and I was exhausted and I had my last rep that I didn't think I could do, I would have to remind myself of what my goal was. Chanelle, you want to be an Olympian. And that is usually what got me through day by day, rep by rep, just constantly just reminding yourself of what your end goal is.
That's impressive to keep that mentally focused. Like, did you ever need the coach to help get you there, or have you always been that driven?
I think my parents have always said I've always been a pretty driven girl, but it definitely helps when you have a coach and teammates around you to help you on those days. I'm human. I'm not always going to be motivated. And so on those days when I'm not, when you have those people in your circle to uplift you, and when they remind you of your goal, then, you snap back into it. Hey, Chanelle, you remember what your goal is? And then it's like, yeah, you're right. And you get after it.
Well, it sounds like you come from good stock. Dad was a Marine,
yes.
correct? And Mom was a
parole
officer.
officer.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So pretty strict upbringing.
I would say there's some motivation there.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I do. I have an older brother. He's a detective. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Apple doesn't far too far from the tree.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. Interesting. Okay, so, sorry, I digress all over the place. So now we're training and we're working, and you said the goal is to become an Olympian. Mm-hmm. Take me through the next steps here, because I think at some point, so you had high school was relatively easy, college you struggled, you decided to stay with it, and then all of a sudden some kind of a switch flipped because your career started to take off, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now we're in 2014 and I'm working, I'm training, I am physically tired but mentally a bit refreshed. That whole identity piece of I'm just Chanelle Price, the track star, that has started to shift for me because I've been introduced to my faith and I've been learning like, oh, you're more than a runner, Chanelle, So that was very, very freeing for me to know like, yeah, running is what you do. It's not who you are. And just that, just had to constantly remind myself of that. Like, yes, take this seriously, but the results don't have to define you. They shouldn't define you. They don't define you.
Right.
So that I needed that.
Were you always a spiritual person, or did you kind of find faith as your journey progressed?
I was not raised as a spiritual person. Wasn't raised that way. But when I went off to college, my track and field coach was a very strong Christian man, and
This Coach Clark?
Coach J.J. Clark.
Ah,
yes.
see?
Mm-hmm.
Steel trap.
The movie Lean on Me. His father, the principal. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
That's my coach's like father.
Get out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's way cool.
Yeah, Joe Clark. Yeah,
Okay.
the principal. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, he started to kind of plant little seeds as he saw me struggling in college with my identity. He wasn't forceful.
I was going to say, not over the head, just kind of like, hey.
just kind of, yeah, like, just, I can't even remember the phrases he would say, but like, just keep the faith, or like, stay hopeful. Things will get better. And he doesn't know it, but just those little things really helped me. And they were planted seeds for me. It wasn't until I got to a really, really low point in my life in 2013, the year that my parents agreed to support me financially, and things still didn't really go too well for me. I got just kind of these questions of like, is life worth living? Like, if I'm not Chanelle Price, the track star anymore, then why should I even be alive? Like those type of dark thoughts. And so it almost came to a point where it was like, okay, well, it was either take my life or try something else. And that's when faith came, kind of, those seeds were planted, and I'm like, well, maybe I could give faith a try. Maybe I could.
Might as well.
And it just started on this journey of exploring, like my own exploration of what faith meant to me, and who is God, and how does he see me? And that's when the light bulb switched for me. Like, oh, yes, I have this gift of running, but like, God doesn't see me as just Chanelle Price, the runner. Like, I'm his daughter. I'm so much more than that. And I'm not defined by my running. And so that for me was just life-changing. Like, just understanding who I was in God's eyes, and starting to see myself that way.
Do you think your faith gave you the strength to finally shed that 100-pound weight that was on your back?
It's absolutely the only reason why I was able to.
Wow.
No doubt in my mind.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And then once that was off,
then it was,
that's when everything started to change.
World champion.
I'd say that changed.
Yeah. So it was just, it was, and it's still, my faith is, even when I was the pulmonary embolism, the foot breaking and all that, it just, my faith just got me through it all. Like, all things are going to work out, Chanelle. Just keep, like my coach would say to me, keep the faith, stay strong. I started saying that stuff to myself.
Now, was it more just like a spiritual shift, or did you like go into like heavy Bible study? Like what was the transition like?
So when it's awesome, because when you're at the world championships, so the USA championships, the track and field championships in Eugene, Oregon, which is where I was when those dark thoughts started to come in, like, oh shit, I don't want to be alive. There's always a chaplain there for athletes to pray with, or whoever, just someone there to reach out to. I reached out to her immediately. Like, I need help. I'm having these thoughts. I don't know what to do with them. And she's a Christian woman, and she's become my mentor since 2013. Awesome. So she just took me under her wing and just, okay, Chanelle, this is what Christianity says. Like, I wasn't raised in the church, so she really had to start from the beginning. Yep. This is who God is. This is what Jesus did for you. This is, do you want to be saved? So she just walked me through it. And from that moment has just been in my life, just pouring into me ever since, teaching me how to read the Bible, teaching me, doing Bible study with me. So yeah, she's my savior.
Incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, just dove right in and found a church, and I just knew, like I said, when I do something, I'm all in. So I'm like, I just dove right in, and I'm so glad I did.
And you're still?
Yes. My fiance, strong Christian man, very big into his faith. Yeah, it's the center of our relationship. I mean, we're long distance. He's in Canada.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he ran track for Canada. He won an Olympic medal for Canada in 2016.
Oh,
so,
excellent.
Yeah. So we've been doing distance for quite some time, but we believe our union is from God, and so yeah, the faith is my foundation now. So yeah,
I love it. You feel like that 100-pound weight started to just slide right off your back?
Absolutely. I was a different person on the track. I was having so much fun. I think I wasn't doing it for any, I felt like I was just doing it to prove to the world that I could still be who I was in high school. And that wasn't a good motivational factor, So I let all that go. I just started having fun. I would just tell myself, Chanelle, just go out there and do your thing. And it definitely started to show. I was a different person in 2014. And that's when I went on to win the 2014 Indoor World Championships.
Indoor World Championships.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Well, that's got to be exciting.
Yeah, it was amazing. At every 800-meter race that indoor season up into that final at Worlds, I came in second.
How does it work? I mean, like, I equate everything to soccer, so I understand the World Cup. So how does professional running work?
Okay, absolutely. So it's a little strange because for indoor track, USA Indoor Championships, there is a qualifying standard.
Okay.
And any U.S. woman, doesn't matter how, you could be 13, they don't put an age limit on it. 13 to 6, they don't care. Any U.S. woman in the 800-meter who hits that qualifying standard, I believe it was 2:04 at the time, is invited to the U.S. Indoor Championships.
Okay.
You can hit that standard pretty much at any sanctioned meet. It could be, it's weird because as pros, we were still competing at the college meets as unattached athletes because there's just not a lot of meets for us to get our qualifying standards at.
I see.
So that year, all of my races leading up to the USA Championships were at college meets.
Oh, wow. That's got to be frustrating for the college athletes. It was like, oh, great. Now I got to go up against the pros. Great.
Yeah. So it's a little strange, but that's just how it works for us. And so I hit that qualifying mark early on in the season. I think I opened up my season in a 2:01. So I got that.
No big deal. 2:01.
Yeah, I got that qualifying mark out the way, went on to the U.S. Indoor Championships that year and placed second to Ajay Wilson, who is incredible. She's amazing. Okay. Yes, so her and I went off we came 1-2, and only the top 2 qualify for Worlds.
Oh, okay.
So her and I were the ones who represented the United States at the Indoor World Championships.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. That was in Poland.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
cool.
Yes.
So you've gotten to travel with this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So all eyes were on Ajay, not going to lie. They expected her to go out there, and I expected her to go out there and win gold. I mean, she's phenomenal.
I was going to say, that probably almost helped a little bit.
Absolutely.
You're just like, all right, pressure's off me. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to go in and do my thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we had 2 rounds. The first round, Ajay did not run well enough to make it to the final.
Oh, geez.
And I watched it. You kind of I was in the second heat, so she went first.
Okay.
And so I was able to watch it, and I'm like, oh gosh, now like USA, we're expected to bring home a medal. Ajay has not qualified for the final. Now it's on me, and I don't do well with that type of pressure.
I was just gonna say, my goodness.
So I'm just like, nope, Chanelle, just don't think about it that way. Just go out there and do your thing. Just do your best. So a lot of self-talk.
Oh.
And in that round, I ran fast enough to make the final.
Awesome.
I didn't win, but
Okay.
I did run fast enough to make
You were
the
just
final.
saving
Right,
it.
just saving it
Total
for the
strategy
final.
move.
Yeah,
Got it.
And then in the final, just talked. My coach wasn't able to come, but just spoke to him about my strategy. And
your coach couldn't make it to Worlds?
No, he was a college coach at the time. So I'm still training with my Tennessee coach.
Okay.
At the time.
Okay.
And so he had some college meets that he had to be at. And so he was just like, all right, Chanelle, well, don't change up. I'm what they call a front runner. So I go out hard. I take the lead, and I'm like, catch me if you can.
Okay.
That's my style.
Okay.
And he said, don't change it. It's not the time to, because I'm like, coach, I haven't been winning. I want to win. Like, should I change up my strategies? Like, now's not the time to change. Just trust me. Just get out hard and just do your thing. And so that's what I did. And they couldn't catch me.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So what did that feel like when you crossed the line?
Oh man, there's pictures of me. I'm just like in shock, just crying on the podium. It was just like, because I almost walked away, right? I almost
Sure.
walked away. So it's like standing on the podium and it's like, okay, I didn't walk away and I'm glad I didn't. You know, this moment makes it all worth it. The 2 jobs and my parents supporting me, it makes it all worth it. And actually, my dream of turning pro happened after that. Nike picked me up after I won that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Talk about, intestinal fortitude that just sticking with it.
Yeah,
All right. So
yeah.
you get picked up. Now what?
I'm picked up now and the pressure comes back.
That pressure just doesn't leave you. I feel horrible for you. My goodness.
The pressure comes because now I'm the first American woman to ever win the 800 meter gold at a world championship event.
Oh, we'll just
so, yeah.
throw that on there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the pressure from that, the pressure from Nike. Okay, now I have a contract. Now you have to maintain a certain ranking in the world if you want us to keep you on funding. It's just like, I'm just like, oh gosh, I was better off working 2 jobs.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So just the pressure's back and just didn't really compete well for a few years again. So it was almost like college all over again of just
hanging in enough to keep the sponsor, but just not to the level that you wanted to be at. I
Absolutely. Did I get to see the world and travel and compete? Yes.
Where'd you go?
Oh man, Italy, France, Spain, Bahamas.
Get out.
Oh yeah.
Now,
yeah.
did you actually get to enjoy any of these places? Or were you just so busy working that you were just like, yep, I'm in Italy, but I'll see you next time?
They usually try to book our flights so that the day after you can stay and enjoy the place where you're at.
One day.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That's lovely.
Yeah. But looking back, that's probably one of my favorite parts of my career was just being able to see the world. It was
incredible.
Amazing. Yeah.
To get paid to do what you kind of love. Love-hate relationship, but you get to see the world. So Italy, France. What was your favorite?
Monte Carlo, Monaco.
Oh,
yeah.
get
Paradise.
out of here. That's so cool.
Didn't want to come home.
I don't blame you. My goodness.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, Switzerland up there as well. Beautiful.
Oh, that's
Sweden,
on the bucket list. I want to
yeah.
hike through Switzerland for sure.
Yeah.
What's going on with this thing here? Sorry. You got to Sweden too?
Yeah.
Did you get to see the Northern Lights at all by chance?
No.
You're pretty far there. Although they were probably like, too bad, get to the track.
Right.
The Northern Lights are happening. I don't care. Get to the track.
I don't care. Yeah.
All right. So we do a world tour. Olympics still in the mind there, I'm assuming?
Yeah. 2016 Olympics didn't go so well. Again, just so, I don't know. Some athletes handle pressure well. Chanelle was not really one of them.
I would say you handle pressure just fine. Let's cut yourself a little bit of a break, but
Yeah.
I can understand that's got to be really hard. So, do you mind talking about it a little bit? Like what happened?
Yeah. So 2016 trials didn't go so well.
Okay.
There's 3 rounds at the Olympic trials.
Okay.
And I didn't even make it out of the first round.
Does that take place here in the States or?
So Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, nice.
Eugene, Oregon. And they'll take the top. How many? They'll invite the top. I want to say 48 women in the country to compete at the U.S. Olympic trials in each event. So
Okay.
the top 48 800 meter runners were there, and they have to get down to 3. The top 3.
Wow.
Yeah, the top 3
There
represent.
goes that pressure again.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, the top 3 represent the U.S. in the Olympics. So
No alternate or anything? Like,
No
I would
alternate.
imagine there's a good chance somebody could get injured, right?
Yeah. I think the 4th place person is always on call. They always say 4th is the worst place to get because you have to go through team processing just in case something happens.
Still
to,
training like super duper hard, but you're
yeah.
just like, I might not get my
Right,
shot here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So 2016 trials didn't go too well. 2017, I was diagnosed with pulmonary embolism. So,
Okay.
yeah, very random.
Okay.
Yes, passed out at practice, was rushed to the hospital, and that's what they found. And
Holy cow.
I did not understand the severity of that. I was
Sure.
just kind of like, well, when can I get back to running? And they're like, ma'am, like, let's explain
let's
to
pump
you
the brakes for a
what your
second.
body just went through. Yeah, and that you're lucky to be alive.
You're
I'm
like, whatever,
oh.
just fix it so I can get going.
Right, exactly.
It's leg day.
Yeah. So 2017 was pretty much a wash after that, of course. 2018, I broke my foot.
Good Lord. Great. So now all the health stuff starts to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, they were all just very, very, very hard years. It kind of just seemed like one thing after another.
And to try to stay in like running shape throughout all that had to have been really difficult.
Yeah. Thought about walking away a lot.
Yeah.
But again, that goal of the 2020 Olympics was just always in the back of my head. Like, just give yourself one more chance. So when I wasn't able to run and I had to be on the bike or in the pool month after month because my foot was healing, that was just always in the back of my head. Like, give yourself the chance to compete at the Olympics.
Did you do any like vision boards or anything like that to help keep you motivated, or?
So in 2020, when we found out that the Olympic trials were going to be postponed to 2021, our coach, I had a new coach at the time. He suggested that we all start working with a sports psychologist, just because, you think that was just hard of course, COVID itself was much more serious than, us competing at the Olympics,
Sure.
but it was still it was hard for us to deal with as athletes because we had been training for this moment for so long. And now they tell us it's going to be,
by the way.
it's going to be a year later if it even happens. So he was just like, I want you guys to just start working with a sports psychologist. And that was really helpful for me. That pressure that I'm like, man, I should have started doing this a long time ago. Yeah, she really helped me just with different mechanisms to deal with pressure, pretty much.
I think everybody should talk to somebody, regardless of whether you're an athlete or not, but now add the pressure of being a professional athlete on top of it. Yeah, you should definitely be talking to somebody. So that helped?
Oh, yeah, it helped. It helped a lot. And, when the 2021 now, they were supposed to be the 2020, but the 2021 Olympic trials came around. It was the most physically fit I had ever been, but also the most mentally ready I had ever been. Yes.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah.
So back in Bend again, or Eugene?
Eugene, Oregon, yes. Which at the time for me, I left my college coach at Tennessee. I left him in 2016 and went to Phoenix for a few years. And then I left my Phoenix coach and went to Eugene, Oregon to train for a few years. So the trials were right in my backyard. So I was kind of like a hometown girl for the Eugene community. And so that was really cool when they announce your name at the trials and the crowd is like, oh, she trains here,
awesome.
So
that's awesome.
That was a really cool feeling. Yeah.
And how did those trials go?
Those trials went well. Made it easily through the first round.
Nice.
Fought my way through the second round. And then the third round, where I needed to place third, I placed fifth. Oh. So close. So close. But, of course, initially it was disappointment. But then when I thought back to, everything I had overcome, I'm like, I was just so proud of myself for not giving up and giving myself the chance to.
Do you feel you ran the best that you could?
I did.
I think that's the most important, right?
Yeah.
It's easy for me to say on this side of the table, but I think if you get that close and you know that you gave everything, that's got to at least give you.
Exactly. I gave it everything. I wouldn't change how I executed the race. Nothing. I just gave it everything I could. So it's like, how could I beat myself up? I did all that I could do,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
At least you can, hold your head high that you did absolutely everything that you could do.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you retire after that, or?
So I went over to Europe for one last time.
Oh, nice.
So that's where we spend our summers as track and field athletes, usually because
I heard
track
that.
is
Yeah,
so big over
in,
there.
in Europe. No, I'm kidding. I never heard that.
Track and field is huge.
I didn't know
there.
that.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Those stadiums are packed out. They love. They call it athletics. They love athletics over there. So yeah, we go over there. And I wanted to do that one last time.
Okay.
So I did that.
So what is that like? Is it like kind of like a tour? You go from stadium to stadium and just race?
And just race, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And and I knew while I was there that this was it, so I just took it all in.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I just took it all in, and then I retired. I let all my coaches know and my family know that this was it, and my family understood. My coaches not so much, because I had just run the best I'd ever ran, and so they're like, "Let's keep this going. Let's keep the momentum going." And like I just was like, I'm tired. I can't do this anymore.
Sure.
I'm very, very tired. So they're like, well, we can't, if you don't want it, we can't, want it for you. So yeah, I think they're still a little upset with me,
but there's something to be said. Like, you know yourself very well at going through this and putting yourself through this type of training and all that stuff. You get to learn who you are. And I think you should pat yourself on the back to know when you knew it was time.
Thank you. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of, I retired, like they said, at the top of my game. That was the best I had. It was the fastest I had ever run, a 158. Like I had, and so for me to leave on my terms, that was important to me. Now, I didn't want to leave because of an injury or because I didn't have a sponsor anymore, because I wanted to leave on my terms. So I'm glad I did.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Thank
I'm
you.
like happy for you.
Thank you.
That's so cool. So now what's next for Chanelle Price? First of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, how did you get involved with St. Luke's?
Oh, yes.
Since they're the sponsor of the show.
So St. Luke's reached out in 2019. Was interested in a partnership, kind of to support my aspirations of becoming an Olympian, but to give the community a kind of an inside look of what that was going to take by using my social media platforms.
Oh, okay.
So I did a lot of a day in the life of Chanelle and tips for new runners, and so just use my social media to give people an inside look of what it takes to train and as a professional runner. And it was a lot of fun.
Sure.
And so we've continued the partnership now.
Oh,
and
great.
I'm excited now that I'm retired. I'll be able to do more in the community, put on camps.
I was
going
going to say, is there any plans for clinics or any of that stuff?
Yes. So that's the direction we're moving in. It won't be so much social media based. It'll be actually being active with the community. And I'm really excited about that.
Especially after the last 2.5 years, I'm sure there wasn't much allowed to be done there.
Right.
So you got to be excited to be able to get out there and camps and work with the kids. And
definitely. Just give back to the community who has really been behind me and supported me throughout my whole career. So
are you going to be helping out at Easton at all?
I think so. I mean, I always try to stop by and see. My coach still is one of my coaches is still a coach at Easton, Tony Lattimore. So I'll stop by and see him from time to time. And but yeah, I'm just excited to give back to the whole Lehigh Valley. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you're retired and you're tired. What's next for Chanelle?
Yeah. So when I retired, I dialed up my close friend and said, what do I do now? Track was my focus for the past, I don't know how long. Don't really know what else I'm interested in.
Right.
And she got me a gig where she works in Alabama, working with a track team there until I just figure out what is next. So yeah, I'm just taking my time figuring out. I'm enjoying my time with her, enjoying that track team that I'm working with. Getting married in September.
Oh, congratulations.
So yeah,
Good
planning a wedding. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Insignificant.
Yeah. So not really putting too much pressure on myself to figure out what's next. I'll figure it out.
All right. So any aspirations in, kind of coaching your own program someday? Maybe at the collegiate level, high school level, just kind of taking the knowledge that you've learned to help other young athletes?
I think so. I think I would need to take a little break from sports just for a little bit, just because I know when I get into coaching, I'm gonna be fired up, and I think I need to take a little break before I can give it my all.
See, this again, I go back to knowing yourself. Yeah. That's really smart.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be all in, and I'm gonna dive in it and take it just as seriously as I did when I was an athlete. Okay. So before I commit to that, I just want to take a little breather.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Now, you have a degree.
Yes, journalism.
Oh.
Yes.
Any interest in jumping into that world?
I don't know. I love this. I love conversation, and I love writing. So I'm trying to figure it out. Maybe a book. Yeah,
okay.
I don't know.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So yeah, just trying to piece it all together, trying to figure it out. It's hard.
Well, and you know what? Take a break.
Yeah.
My goodness, you've been going with your hair on fire for the last how long?
Yeah.
Take a step back. relax,
Yeah.
and it'll come.
Thank you.
And
Thank
like you said, you're strong in your faith, and something will
It'll
work out.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Any last little tidbits of advice for maybe, say, up-and-coming athletes or folks that may be in your position that, even high school athletes that are finding that they may be good at something and that pressure is starting to mount? Any little tips of advice you'd give to them?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would say work hard. I absolutely did that. I was dedicated. I was disciplined. Be all that. Be all in, but understand that at the end of the day, you're more than an athlete. You're so much more than an athlete. This is what we do. It's not who we are. And so enjoy it. Enjoy it. Find joy in it. Make memories. And just try to not put your entire identity into the sport, because you're so much more than that.
I love it. I think one of the biggest things you said, and you said it several times, is this is what we do. It's not who we are. That's huge, especially when you're at that level. It started for you when you were in high school. People start showering you. You're like, oh my gosh, it's Chanelle Price. She's the track star. And then all of a sudden it kind of gets stuck in your brain. But if you can kind of separate those two, makes life a little bit easier.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Thank you for having me.